On blast.
And we are live. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show. As always, my name is Sheldon Alexander, and this episode of Wrap It Up is brought to you by Clean Cuts Barbershop, 2013 Danforth Avenue in the East End of Toronto. Clean Cuts, the multicultural barbers that will always keep you fresh for any and all occasions. So go see Skip and the crew. As a wise man once said, tell them that I sent ya. Check them out on Instagram at Clean Cuts Toronto or give them a call, 416-917-4833 to book your appointments now. What is up, Wrap It Up fans? Thank you guys, as always, for tuning in. Whether you are live with us on Twitter, as you are after each and every Toronto Raptor game, at Shell Alexander, or on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Greatly appreciate you, as always. And of course, don't forget, if you ever miss a pod, you can check us out wherever you get your podcasts on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Like and subscribe, tell your friends, just search On Blast Podcast. On Blast is a network, Wrap It Up is a show. Let's get to the business. Your Toronto Raptors lose 119-109 to the Houston Rockets, and it was all good just a week ago.
Right?
And coming in, the big talk, of course, is James Harden. My guy, here's real facts today, okay? We talk about it here and there. I don't really talk about it that much, but I work on a show called Tim and Sid, okay? Been filling in producing for a while. Today, I wrote in the script, okay? Raptors host James Harden and the Rockets. James Harden comes in averaging 55 points per game. I said to one of our hosts who was filling in today, DJ, I'm like, hey, DJ, I wrote this for you. Just take a look at it, make sure it's good, change it to however you want to finesse it, and go. He looked at it and he goes, I almost asked you if this was a mistake because it says James Harden is averaging 55 points per game over his last two. It sounds like a mistake. But his last two games, he went for 60, and the game before that, he went for 50.
60 and 3/4.
60 and 3/4, yes. In real life, that was a thing. Mm-hmm. So obviously, James Harden's getting all the headlines. Obviously, James Harden took up a lot of the attention of the Raptors' game plan.
And oh, did he?
And to start the game, I want to get you guys' opinion on this because to start the game, it was clear the Raptors' game plan was to double team James Harden as soon as he stepped over half court. What did you think of this game plan? Do you think that that was the right move? Q, I'll start with you. To right away, we are going to get the ball out of James Harden's hands and we're going to double team him. I'm just going to say game plan, not how well they executed it, but the game plan of let's double James Harden and get the ball out of his hands.
Just the plan? Okay, just the plan? Then I agree with it.
Okay. Because
the Raptors start two undersized point guards, and Houston's starts two Hall of Fame big guards.
Yes. Russ and James Harden.
One-on-one, that matchup wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
So I agree with the double team. I agree with getting the ball,
out of his hands.
First off, Houston, please do something. Do something, because it's not pretty to watch. Okay? I understand Harden is all world, but you're forgetting you have a actual point guard who averages a triple-double for the last 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And he's just a decoy?
I don't even know how it made sense. I don't know. I think their offense makes 0 sense, for sure. Yeah. Nobody wants to stand around and watch James Harden dribble. And I talked about the game plan, and I understand that you might want to double team James Harden, but I'm not going to throw you what my game plan is right at the start of the game. I'm going to see how the game starts out first. Even if James Harden, we've seen it already, right? James Harden scored 50 and they lost, right? So even if he's getting his buckets, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to lose. So I'm going to maybe start the game straight up first, knowing that I'm going to come and mix in some different things as the game progresses.
So you're saying that the Raptors tipped their hand?
They went with the same defense early for the whole entire game. That just gives the Rockets a whole game to adjust, figure out, see what works perfectly. And they did that by the first 3 minutes of the first quarter. Because what happened early? James Harden came over, saw the double team. After that, my guy walked over half court without the ball and just stood there.
Decoy.
Stood there as a decoy. So the Raps defender, who at the time was OG, stays with James Harden. and now it's a 4-on-4 game. And they got to figure out, it took the Rockets a couple possessions to figure out the 4-on-4 game, but James Harden's just standing there. You've already tipped your hands to the defense, and now you're allowing them in the first quarter to figure out how to beat your defense.
But Hovey, you got to kind of think of it too, like it's really 4-on-3 on the back end.
Mm-hmm. True.
It's really 4-on-3 in the back end, and your guys are going to be out of position to rebound.
For sure.
That's why we got out rebounded as well, is that, hey, James Harden is attracting our best defender.
Yeah.
So he's taking our best defender out of the defense.
And then the secondary.
And a secondary help.
Yeah. Because what the Rockets realized early on was they needed to allow James Harden to accept the double team.
Yep.
So now 2 defenders are gone to him. And then now when you pass it to the cutter coming into the middle, now that's exactly what you're saying. You kind of got a fast break going to the basket.
Yep.
And the Raptors were just in scramble mode defense for the whole game. And you're asking NBA players, can you hit wide open threes for the whole game?
Well, that was the problem. Is I don't think the what do they call it? The triangle in 2 or the double team, whatever they call the defense.
It was just a double team.
Was a bad idea. But those other 3 on the back end, and I mean, hindsight's 20/20. So I know that Ben McLemore and Daniel House Jr. are allergic to the post.
Yeah.
But you can't be standing there and then reacting. You know the ball. Like, first off, the triangle should have been extended so that it's a shorter distance for you to run out to those shooters, right? Especially when Capella was not in the game, because he's the only one that was going to try and hit a layup.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Russ, who didn't touch the ball really in the first quarter, right?
Well, Russ, you could tell Russ didn't even know what to really do early. And that's what I mean. If you come out with that defense in the fourth quarter and now you have them scrambling, how much does that change? But instead, you have the very first possessions of the game. This is a defense. And then there wasn't an adjustment after that. So now they know, okay, we just run a guy into the middle. And now it's just basic. It's like drills you run in high school.
Easily.
Fast break drills you run in high school. I get the ball at the top of the key. I turn towards the basket. And now the one guy has to come to me and someone's going to be open. And all they want to do is shoot threes. And I don't care who you are. If you're telling me that Austin Rivers, Ben McLemore, Daniel House Jr. just get to stand there and shoot wide open threes for the whole game,
they're going to make more than they miss.
You're wide open shots. You're NBA players. And I know people are going to bring this up, so I'm going to say it from now. I know people are going to bring up what happened in Golden State, because we were talking about it while watching this game, right? I get that in Golden State, the Raps ran the box and won, but you're doing that again as a wrinkle to throw off a team that Quinn Cook, like the Warriors might shoot threes, but KD shoots threes, Clay shoots threes, Steph shoots threes, not Iguodala, not Draymond, not Cook. Those guys aren't used to that.
Those guys are just used to, like, possession shots.
Exactly. Not like this where the Rockets team shoots a lot of threes by design. PJ Tucker's only in the league now because he realized if I hit a corner three, I'm hella valuable. So now all you're doing is saying, okay, well, PJ Tucker, we're going to make you sit in the corner and shoot threes the whole game. And my guy goes 5 of 10.
Yep.
Because he's just sitting in the corner and you're playing into what these guys are there to do. All they tried to do with those role guys is find dudes to hit open threes.
And again, hindsight is 20/20, but in the third quarter, we got back into the game because they kind of let Russ or Harden, and they played them one-on-one.
They played it straight up.
They played it straight up. So again, hindsight's 20/20, and again, I do think it was a bold. Somebody said on the Instagram that it was a bold defensive plan.
Yeah,
and I agree, but you have to do more than just double team Harden. Like, you get the ball out of Harden's hand, those other 3 have to be ready.
It's also
for
hard to do. It's also hard to make those rotations.
It is hard to do, but we've seen how they were set up. If you're going to do that, knowing that Houston is only shooting threes,
true,
especially in the second half when you've seen Daniel House and McLemore already had the hot hand, you have to extend the triangle so that it's a shorter distance out to those shooters, because they weren't even looking at the basket. Right? That cutter that was cutting to the middle got the ball and didn't even look at the basket.
He wasn't even trying to score on the layups, really.
Yeah. So then there's no reason to really overplay that and then have to run out to shooters.
Yeah.
And then you run out to the shooters, and we lost the rebound matchup because you're running out to shooters.
No, totally. You're out of position.
And you're out. Not only are you out of position, but you didn't try to get back into position.
Yeah.
Yep.
To block out, to get those long rebounds.
Well, because here's the thing: what normally happens on a double team is if I'm James Harden, right? Or forget James Harden. If you're double teaming X, let's say it's Kawhi Leonard, and you have that double team, once you accept the double team and the two guys come to you and you pass out of it, you might try to run back in to be a part of the play. Harden wasn't doing that. He was staying at half court, and that second defender is still shading towards James Harden because it's James Harden, and that's the game plan. But now you have two defenders that are completely out of the play. The other three guys are scrambling, trying to find three-point shooters. You're out of position to rebound. You're not really contesting the three because pass.
But that's what I'm saying.
Position.
So James Harden was, but he was.
But you can't play that defense for a whole game. But
But I'm saying,
you're gonna be so tired.
If the double team is at the top of the 3-point line,
yeah,
then fine. Maybe you want to stick toward James Harden. But you're right. He was almost at half court.
Yeah.
There's no reason for two of you to guard him at half court.
He was purposely keeping himself out of the play.
For sure.
That second one gets back into the play.
Yeah.
But
hopefully. Right? Because especially in the second half, the first half, the Rockets were shooting lights out. Right?
Yeah, like let's get to some of that just because Ben McLemore was going crazy overall in the game. First off, Ben McLemore took 17 threes in this game, but he was 8 of 17 overall. Daniel House Jr. did most of his damage in the first half. I want to say he had 16. Yeah. All of it might have been in the first half.
The first quarter, he had 14.
He had 14 in the 13. Yes, you're right. He had 14 in the first quarter. And when you're talking about 11 threes, 16 threes made between PJ Tucker, Ben McLemore, and Daniel House Jr. Add in Austin Rivers, that's 18 threes. That's crazy.
Well, McLemore took, what did he take?
Ben
17?
McLemore took 17 threes.
Isn't that just two less than the whole Raptors team?
The Toronto Raptors overall makes or misses because the Raptors were 12 of 39 from three, 30% in this game.
Oh, it's not 39.
But I mean, the point still remains when Ben McLemore and Daniel House Jr.
Can't happen.
Have the equivalent amount of threes essentially as your whole team.
Can't happen.
You're going to lose. Mm-hmm. You're going to lose. And again, the threes this is a big part of it too, because we were talking about it while watching the game. The threes that the Rockets were taking were open threes because the Raptors defense was scrambling. The Raptors are trying to match threes with the Rockets, but they're taking like pull up, deep dagger, like I'm trying to match your three. Yeah. It wasn't within the flow of the offense or ball movement, which I'm going to breach a topic here. So tell me if I'm overstepping for sure. But to me, the Raptors offense wasn't working as smoothly with Fred and Kyle as it was to start the year. They're still kind of
facto.
Freddie wasn't as aggressive with the ball with Kyle on the floor as he's been the last few games with Kyle out of the lineup. Am I wrong, Foots?
No, I agree. And that's the thing. I feel like even in this game, coach didn't play certain guys that would have been perfect for this game. Mm-hmm. Just like Q was saying earlier, Boucher would have been perfect. You need a hustle guy that's all over the boards, climbing the boards. Because if you're fighting for every board, because at the end of the day, if you're going to come with that defensive scheme, you need somebody on the back end that's going to rebound like a dog and rebound past the 3-point line.
That's either Hustle Jefferson or Boucher.
That's it. Sure. Hustle Jefferson
but there you go.
Hustle Jefferson got less than 10 minutes, and Boucher didn't even play at all.
Boucher played like 3 minutes.
Yeah. 3 minutes.
He got like no time. You're right.
Yeah, but he picked up again, going for a rebound, picked up a foul, one of the fouls. Mm-hmm. I think Capella went out of the game after that point. Yeah. Right?
No.
We seen like that when that West Coast road trip, we seen the value of Rondae Hollis Jefferson.
Yep.
There's no reason why when we're playing any of the top tier players in the league, LeBron, PJ, PG, whoever, why Jefferson should not be on that court.
Here's my thing, and I would have liked to see this because I know, again, James Harden's averaging 39.5 points per game this season, this season. So he's cooking everybody. So I get that your game plan is we need to do something to stop James Harden. But it's not like the Rockets have won every single game this season.
Right.
So at some level, don't you just understand that, hey, he might get 30, but let's play good team defense, or at least give your defenders a chance one-on-one.
Exactly.
To see how the game goes, to feel it out a little. Then come with the gimmicks.
The Rockets should be adjusting to the champs. we're the champs, and I felt like
like
we just played to.
I like that.
We just played to their style. We have to make them adjust. We're the champions.
I just think you have so many dudes on the Raptors team. If you've already labeled OG as your plus defender, he's your lockdown guy. Okay, cool. OG, you get a run. You're gonna get a run at James Harden. Siakam, you're our max money guy. You're gonna get a run at James Harden for a bit. We just said Hustle Jefferson. You saw the work that he's done on the trip. He's gonna get a run at James Harden. You could even throw Serge a little bit on him, just to mix it up a little. But I'm just saying, you have multiple bodies that you can throw at him. You have Norman Powell.
We gave them way too much respect.
I'm just saying you have multiple bodies you could throw at him for a little bit to mix it up, or like take a couple possessions off of double teaming. That to me was the issue. They came in with the game plan, they stuck to it, but you showed your hand, right? You gave up your hard end. If we're talking dominoes,
real talk,
right? You gave up your hard end a little too early,
way too early.
But on top of that, let's talk Raptors offense. Sorry, I shifted it back, but Raptors offense. Fred VanVleet, when Kyle was out, I want to say the numbers were in those 11 games, he was averaging 21 points, 7 assists, shooting 40% from 3. And we all know, obviously, his usage was up with Kyle out of the lineup.
Of course.
Now with Kyle back, undoubtedly the usage rate's going to go down from Freddie. But I think also him just being a factor, the kind of shots, he was getting shots for himself, because he had 20 points, 7 to 13 shooting, but I don't think he was getting enough plays for other guys as much as he was running the offense.
Wasn't playmaking.
How much more do they need from Freddie? Because when you guys both showed up, what was the conversation in our group text today? It was about, is Freddie getting 30 mil?
Well, I think the big issue, and this is, I guess, seeing some of the comments I've seen over the last 2 games, after the last 2 games, is it wasn't broke, right? Mm-hmm. We went on this crazy run with our 2 veteran players out, right? Mm-hmm. Found our bench, right?
Yep.
And it was working. We went on this, what was it, a 7-game win streak or 6-game win streak, right?
Yeah.
Kyle comes back, and now it's a 2-game losing streak, and I think it's because you switched up what was working for you the last 2 weeks. Now, I'm not going to go crazy and everybody wants to trade Kyle.
And
I'm
put
not going
Kyle to the bench.
I'm not going to go that crazy.
Yeah.
But, and I understand Kyle's a
interesting personality.
Perfect way to put it.
I got
right?
you.
So you don't want to ruffle feathers and create any type of drama in the clubhouse. I understand that. But seeing how good things were going, bringing Kyle back, it should have been easing him into what we are doing now.
We never eased him in.
And not going back to what we were before.
Kyle Lowry played 42 minutes in this game tonight.
Should never have happened.
I don't know if Kyle Lowry should ever be playing 42 minutes.
Only if it goes into triple overtime.
Triple overtime.
Right?
I mean, I'm not arguing with you, though.
Right? Or double overtime.
That's facts.
Right?
I'm not arguing with you.
Even single overtime in a close game where he's not in foul trouble and he's cooking.
Because the other part of that, we've talked about Hustle Jefferson and what he was doing off the bench. We're talking about Boucher, but even Terrence Davis. And I thought in limited minutes, even tonight, Terrence Davis was a positive, but he's only playing like 14 minutes now, whereas Fred's still at 38 minutes, Kyle's at 42 minutes, and
they said the Raptors are killing their own momentum, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
A week ago, we were talking bench mob 2.0 or hustle mob or whatever you want to call them, baby, right? Or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And now these guys can barely get on the court.
So is it a matter of just got to take some time to figure out what the actual rotation is going to be now? Because Norm, on the flip side, Norm's had 14 points tonight. He still looked okay, but coming in, what they say, last 3 games, Norm was averaging 21 a night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So is it just a matter of, hey, it might take a couple games? Plus, also add in, let's keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. The last 2 games have been against legit teams.
Yes.
Whereas what was happening a week ago wasn't really.
No, but you forget
that West
Utah
Coast
got waxed.
The West Coast road trip. It started the way it started. So yes, we went through Orlando and Charlotte, and those teams are mixed in there too. But Utah was a good team.
True. Utah
Lakers are a good team.
The gym. Yeah. You're right. The Sixers, they beat.
Right. So
Portland's a good
and that's exactly what I'm saying. Is you go from that Utah game where it was just lights out, to switching something up the next day as if it was broken.
You're right.
I see what you're saying. So then what's the answer? You think the answer is as simple as you bring back Kyle and Kyle just plays 34 minutes? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that the thing? Or the fact that they just came back and it's like, all right, well, we're going back to Kyle's our guy. He's the man. He does this. He does that. Because let's also keep it a buck. The last two games when fourth quarter time has come around, which was, if we picture us three sitting together in the barber shop to open the season, we talked about Pascal getting the bag and we talked about winning time.
Right.
What's going to happen this season in winning time? And last two big boy games, I'm still thinking that Pascal should be that dude, but he wasn't really getting the touches or the looks down the stretch in winning time.
Yes, sir.
For it to be that.
But I think that's I put some of it on him. I'm not letting him off the hook at all. Right?
Well, we talked about it last game. He took one shot.
Yeah.
In the fourth quarter.
Some of it's on
OT.
him, but some of it's on the matchups too.
But it's not. But I don't even think it was the matchup because today, in this game, he had Tucker on him to start. Now Tucker's a great defender, on ball defense, but you're long, fast, and athletic.
For sure.
When you get the ball, go.
That should be a dominant.
Right?
Like tonight, he was being guarded by James Harden, and every time he should have looked up and seen James Harden, that's Cook. Instantly, and it wasn't.
Right?
And I mean,
like I said, when James Harden picked up his fifth foul, I said if the next play is a 3-point shot, I'm gonna be upset. And they went to Siakam in the post, but he tried to finesse it. So you got to go hard.
He finessed it,
right?
And I think overall too, right? What we were just talking about in terms of the bench guys, what those bench dudes play, like their style of play, they muck it up a little, right? It's a little grimy. It's a little, it's PJ Tucker.
It's a fight.
Yes, and while you have PJ Tucker and Capella, and their job is just to get in there, grab rebounds, do that whole thing, right? You got to flip that in, and you got to say, well, we know what Boucher brings to the table. We know what Hollis Jefferson brings to the table, and we need a little bit of that to counter the PJ Tuckers, right? And that's what I think was missing from the Raptors tonight. I just think that
because dude, I'm in Miami, Bam. The man's name's Bam.
Yeah, Bam was doing that all day.
Yeah.
The man's name's Bam.
He bodied
something
Siakam.
to Bam with him.
He bodied Siakam.
Right? And Boucher, and yes, Boucher's a skinny dude, and he's not going to win the muscle battle, but he has fight. He fights for it.
He'll win the heart battle.
He's going to fight for it regardless.
Yeah.
Right? He's the type of dude that it doesn't matter whether it was Shaq, he was at least going to try to go for that rebound.
So Pascal Siakam in this game finishes with 24 points, 9 rebounds, had 2 steals, 2 block, but he shot 9 of 22, 2 for 8 from 3. 9 of 22 for 24 points.
Hollow.
What do you make of Pascal's game tonight? Foots, I'll start with you.
Hollow. Those are hollow numbers. Those are not impactful.
Okay.
What are we talking about here? Siakam now, I want impact.
Yeah.
He wasn't impactful tonight. And even certain stretches, certain stretches where the Raptors came back, he was either on the bench or hiding in a corner. I don't know. I just need impactfulness if he's on the court. If he's not, I don't know. Even in times where we were coming back, I felt like coach should have brought him off the bench.
The runs, you're right. The runs the Raptors made, it was either Freddie just like driving through dudes, getting to the basket. Norm, or Kyle doing the same thing. And Kyle and Serge had a little bit of a moment where they had the pick and roll thing going that worked so well last year.
Yes, sir.
But overall, the team is just like, they haven't figured out yet the rotations. And it's tough to figure out the rotations against legit teams on the fly that know what they're doing. Because the one thing that when you watch Houston and when you watched Miami the last 2 nights, there's a clear and distinct hierarchy. Everybody knows their role. When situations come along, you know what's expected of you. And in the Raptors right now, especially when it comes to the fourth quarter, does Kyle get it? Does Fred get it?
Yeah, we don't know
what
we're doing.
Does Pascal get it? Does Norm get it? Because
we don't know.
We've seen it all over the past week, and I don't know what the right answer is. I can't sit here and tell you I know what the right answer is.
I can.
Please.
So yes, Pascal got the bag, and Pascal is the future.
Okay,
but the future might not be right this second.
Okay,
let him ease into that role. Let him find his his rhythm to that role.
Okay.
It's whoever is hitting. You run an offense. When you have 4 guys on the court that are relatively even players, you don't really yes, there might be a hierarchy. There might be a one, but it's more like a 1A, 1B, 1C. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So last game it was Norm. Why Norm didn't get shots down the stretch at the last game when he's the one that brought us back offensively? I don't know. But that's you know what I mean? If he's the one that's cooking, it should be him.
Can I be honest though? If we're really sitting here saying that crunch time, our guy is Norman Powell.
But
no,
I
don't know if I'm riding with that.
But we don't have. Like
that could just be for that game.
We
for
don't.
that moment.
That's what I'm saying. It's just for that game. Like we were all complaining when Nurse.
Where's Siakam? Yeah.
When Nurse, it was earlier game of the season, and the last play went to Norm.
Went to Norm, and he pulled up from midcourt.
Right. So yeah. Right. So if it's that Norm in the game, then obviously not.
Yeah.
But the Norm from in Miami, he deserved the touch down the stretch, right? So that's what I'm saying. If it's Siakam's time, like in Utah with Siakam, give Siakam the ball, no doubt.
I got you.
But if for some reason he didn't even play in the fourth quarter until about halfway through,
yeah, if there's no clear hierarchy, then you gotta go with the hot man.
I just think you run an offense.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
When the Raptors, like when Gasol gets the ball either at the high key or at the 3-point line, and everybody's moving and rotating, the Raptors' offense looks beautiful.
So Jeff Berg checks in, and we're talking about the Raptors' offense and what's going on with that. And he says, you're asking for all these drives when threes are worth more than 2. And my counter to that, I understand the point that's being made. The game has turned into a math game. And I understand that. The thing that these math equations don't account for is the type of threes that you're taking.
Thank you.
So again, there's a huge difference between the Rockets taking threes when the defense is scrambling and ball movement, open three off a scramble defense compared to the Raptors coming down with a man on them and trying to take a jumper 3 or a deep 3. Those are 2 different types of threes.
Yep.
When you're in the rhythm, when you're in the flow, cool. I don't mind Kyle Lowry pulling that when he's in the rhythm. But even, was it at the end of the half? At the end of one of the quarters, it was 40 seconds left, and Fred took like an off-balance 3 from like half
just
court.
To get a 2-for-1. Like
just to get a 2-for-1.
Which ended up a 2-for-1 going the other way.
Exactly, because he missed the 3. They came down the other way, got an and 1, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so I understand that this math equation that basketball is now, where threes are worth more than 2, there's still basic principles that, like, in theory, cool, get the ball out of James Harden's hand. But basic basketball just tells you if you make the correct 2 next passes, somebody's getting an open shot.
For sure, 100%.
And so you can't run that defense out there for a whole game.
Nope.
That's my issue. Let's get some comments though, right? Because people are fired up after this one. And there's a lot of comments here. People asking who to blame, obviously. People not happy with the lineup. Let's see. Someone says, beat by fantastic defense one night, beat by fantastic offense the next night.
Yep. That's a good response.
I mean, like we've called them. These are big boy games coming up, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's going to show you where we actually are.
Correct.
In the hierarchy of what the NBA is.
Totally
right?
agree with that.
Right?
Totally agree with that.
And I think the problem with the West Coast road trip is when you're down, right? Like Lowry and Ibaka were just out, and we went into LA kind of with nothing to lose, and with maybe teams even underestimating us.
Yep.
It's easy to go in there and shock the world.
We were feeling
also too, like, after the full week of shouldn't the Raptors be higher in the power rankings, like your name starts getting out there. You're not surprising anybody. Teams are ready now. Like, oh, the Raps are still a thing without Kawhi. No. We're ready for this game now, right? Like, oh, Siakam's that dude. Okay, we're ready for this now. Freddie's been putting in work. We're ready now.
We're ready.
And it's about adjustments. Because I say this often, it's the NBA. Everybody can play basketball.
Yes, sir.
Right? It's about your coaching. It's about preparation. It's about all those things, right? Speaking of coaching, Sage checks in and says, terrible coaching. How the hell are double teaming a team that thrives on shooting open threes?
I agree. We agree. You know, you can't. You just can't run a system like that. I don't know.
To me, it seemed like you're playing into Houston's hand.
Yep, for sure, 100%. And we got burned
because,
tonight.
Again, I can't say this enough. Even if James Harden gets 50, that doesn't mean that
it was Harden phobia.
But even if Harden gets 50, that doesn't mean that you lose the game.
It's true.
Right? He could get 50. The last game, what were his numbers against the Spurs?
But I think
he shot 50 and his shooting percentage was atrocious.
Yep.
I think it's that, but also the type of recognition we were getting for holding down LeBron and holding down Kawhi.
Yeah, that's fair.
That can also get to your head and be like,
back
okay, Harden's next.
Back to reality.
So right. So we went into the LA and figured that out and came out with a win in that game. We almost won the Clipper game, and what was the other game? There's another game
Portland
in there. Portland, right? Yeah. And won that game. So
and they lost to the Mavs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I got you.
I think it's a bit of that, thinking like, okay, we're gonna be the superstar stoppers. So let's game, and plus you came out a win in that game.
Yeah.
And I think on top of that, the offense was clicking in those games.
Yeah.
Right. So you're thinking if we can, I mean, let's be frank. If the Raptors, as much as they got outplayed in both of these last two games, if the Raptors shot better,
those are 2 wins.
it's 2 wins.
Easy.
Or at least 2 closer games.
Yeah, but
right?
But again, I just think that what happened against the Heat wasn't giving the Heat enough credit for the defense they played.
Definitely.
Right? So
definitely. But the Raptors have missed open shots that they were hitting during their stretch. Right?
Fair.
So yes, the defense is obviously better in Miami than Orlando and Charlotte. But the Raptors were also missing open shots.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Right?
That's fair. Let's get to some more comments. Rock DTV agrees and says, Hustle Gang grabs boards and always brings energy. DJ Raymond checks in and says, this just shows we're missing a stud on this team. I'm not touching that one because I personally am not touching that one because, again, like I knew what we were getting into in this season without Kawhi.
Yeah.
We saw last year.
We're overachieving right now. I just want to say that too.
And let's be real here.
And that's okay.
Let's be real here. There's only 5 of those players in the league.
Thank you.
Right? Not every team in the league is gonna Utah doesn't have a stud, right?
Like Donovan Mitchell's
Donovan Mitchell, but Donovan Mitchell's there's still like we always
our
say,
Siakam.
there are levels to this, right? So yes, Donovan Mitchell was gonna put in work, but he's not that guy who you just know what's going to happen every game.
Yeah.
Right? There's only, like I said, there's only maybe 5-6 of those guys in the entire league. And they play for like 3 teams.
Yeah.
Right?
No, totally agree. Totally agree. Glow Girl Smile, who first off, I'm pretty sure she was on the broadcast, right?
Yeah.
That
when she at the game?
No, it was a picture of the Tangerine like fan contest.
Okay.
But she checks in and says our bench is out of sync, which we were talking about. I don't know what the rotation is now. It seems pretty random. And that's definitely going to be a thing to figure out.
It kind of seems like Nurse went back to the rotation he was playing at the beginning of the season. Mm-hmm. It's a 7-man and with a sprinkle of the other guys in there.
This is a great point by Pastor Wesley on something else that we were talking about earlier. It must be exhausting trying to sprint to the corners because you're out of position. Yes. Right? And that essentially is your defense the whole game. Right? Because we even saw the odd times that Houston did drive to the basket, they wouldn't even take the layups. They were passing it back out to the 3-point line.
Yep.
Let's see. Diaz checks in and says, Nurse has to put his thumb down on Lowry and control the man's minutes. I swear he only wants to play 40-plus minutes, even if it costs us a game. I don't know how that conversation goes. But Nick Nurse clearly can't tell Kyle Lowry anything.
But do you really think, I'm wondering whether that conversation was even had. Do you think Kyle's just subbing himself into the game?
No, but here's the thing. We were talking about it at last game, right? Remember they did the halftime interview with the assistant coach? And the assistant coach was like, oh, it's Kyle's first game back, but he's our guy. He's the man. He's our leader. So having him back, he takes whatever shots.
They're walking on eggshells.
Kyle Lowry, hold on. Do you remember how Kyle Lowry started the last game? Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry went through shoot-around at 4:30. Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry's listed as doubtful in the morning. Then midday, he's questionable. Then he decided he was going to shoot around by himself and a trainer at 4:30, then said, I'm playing. That's how he ended up playing in that game that night. So if you're Nick Nurse, and come on, you have game plans that you have each and every day that you're working for every game, and then at 4:30, this man's like, "Oh, I just shot. My thumb feels good. I'm playing tonight." You can't tell Kyle Lowry anything. That's not how the relationship is built. He is the LeBron of the team, of the organization.
Which I have a problem with.
Hey,
If that's the way it's rolling, I have a problem with it too.
but that clearly is how it's rolling.
We gotta put some. We got.
And again, I'm not saying that I agree. I'm just saying
put some
what it
provisions
is.
in his minutes for sure, because at the end of the day, it's gonna be more of a hindrance to us than helping.
Yeah, Kyle Lowry playing 42 minutes is not good for anybody. And I know you look at the numbers, you say he had 19 points, 8 assists, 5 of 8 shooting, 3 of 5.
Kyle doesn't need to show us nothing anymore.
Those numbers are good numbers. He played fine, cool. But I just think in terms of the defense now, you want the top level defense, and by doing that, you got to play more minutes of the bench.
Yep, I agree.
Siakam, people are trying to go at Siakam right now. Let's see.
No Siakam slander, man.
DJ Raymond says, "Am I the only one who thinks that it's time to send Fred back to the bench?" Foots, what do you think?
Fred back to the bench?
Fred.
Boy, you done lost your mind.
Oh,
Whoever's saying that's done lost their mind, because at the end of the day,
okay,
we gotta see what we have. I want to see if Van Fleet can hold up as a starter for a lengthy part of the season.
Yeah.
Straight, because I'm hearing everybody on the internet and everywhere else talking about giving Van Fleet the bag. How are we going to give him a bulk of money if he's not starting? I just don't understand this.
Q?
No, he's not going back to the bench. It's not happening. But we talked about this during the game, and I think there needs to be a separation. So maybe you start Kyle and Fred, but that first substitution when Norm's coming in the game, and whoever is going out, whether it's Lowry or Fred, I don't care who goes out first, but one of those needs to go out. And then during the second and third quarter, they should be interchangeable.
Yeah, they switch for each
right?
other.
They switch for
their
each
minutes
other.
together isn't that much.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Right?
Because I also think that in these big boy games against the legit teams, that's when you find out you cannot, like, if
You
we
can't
think
have
we're
an
making
under
a deep,
6'2" backcourt.
if you think you're making a deep run in the playoffs with that short backcourt, it's not happening. You're going to get game planned out in a playoff series.
Easily.
It's just going to happen.
Even a coach like Brett Brown can scheme that.
But that's what I'm saying is and if you remember how it was
Against the Sixers.
But I'm saying the last year where Siakam would play with the second unit, right? So that's what I think should happen here is that first
Kyle with
substitution.
Serge.
Kyle, yeah, exactly. So Kyle goes out of the game. Norm comes in, and now you got Fred, Norm, Siakam, OG, right? The young gunners going out there.
Yeah.
And then when the next switch happens, then it's Kyle, Rondé, Serge. And that
let Terrence play with Kyle.
That's it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. More comments here. They're having a full-on conversation. I love it.
Well, that's good.
It.
You gotta love that though.
Yeah, it's the small. Someone agrees. They say the small backcourt is hurting us in the big games. I obviously that's what we're just talking about. Totally agree. Let's see here. I don't know what this means, but Alex says the Raps got an endless case of random player-itis. Gone are the Gerald Henderson days, but now we're dealing with Duncan Robinson and Ben McLemore. Bruh.
Yeah.
I mean,
The others.
But that's
As Shaq would call them, the others.
But that was right. That was James Ennis last year against Philly. There's always.
What do you think of this? Someone says Siakam should spend the next few days watching film of Kawhi going to work in the big boy moments.
I'm gonna leave that alone.
You know what?
It's early still. He's young. I don't want to crush Siakam. I don't think we should.
It's early.
The problem is everybody gets hung up on what happened 2 games ago. You know what I mean? Like the man was most improved player. Like if he was MVP last year, we could go ham on him. But he was most improved player last year, right? People gotta you weren't expecting. Were you really expecting?
But you gave him the Max Boy bag. And with the Max Boy bag comes Max Boy expectations.
I fully understand.
Let's keep it a buck.
I fully understand.
And I know this is a new wave NBA where people get max bags, but they can't shoot threes, and you're a point guard. I understand that's what happens.
Is that a sublime?
That's what happens.
Hey,
That's what happens.
listen, once Jimmy Butler came out and sent those shots, that confirmed everything I needed to know about what was going on in
Just like
Philly.
what's happening in every other sport, now you get paid off what you
Potential.
could be and not what you are.
Shout to the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Hey.
I see Austin at the game watching his favorite player, Russell Westbrook.
Come on, man.
Who, Russ has the worst shot selection. Like, his shot selection, if you didn't think it could get worse, it's horrible in this Houston offense.
He's not getting the shots.
But you got to kind of look at it too. It's like having a Kobe Bryant without a Phil Jackson. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because there has to be somebody on there and telling you this is a bad shot, and D'Antoni's not telling him it's a bad shot.
So Russell Westbrook,
Russ, you need to give Russ the ball.
Russ had 19 points
And another
13 rebounds, 11 assists. Russ from the field shot 7 for 27 in this game. 7 for 27.
And they think this is
not
going to be a problem.
You
don't think this is not going to be a problem come playoff time in those spots?
That's trash.
Russ is a point guard.
And I'm a huge Russ defender.
If you give Russ the ball, let him dribble past half, and then give it to Harden, Russ is happy because Russ will have 36 assists.
By Noir checks in and says, I'm here to tell y'all, Kyle Lowry is ruining the flow, momentum, and chemistry.
You know what? I don't know.
That's harsh.
But again, too, if you watch these last two games, I could see where you can easily say that.
A lot of people still talking about Kyle Lowry going to the bench, and I'm here to tell you guys that's not
happening.
That's never happening.
That's never going to happen.
I don't even expect it to happen.
No, I don't think
it should
happen.
But like I said, you have to. I think because it's two different styles, right? Kyle's not a player who's going to fit into the style of basketball we were playing through that road trip.
Yep,
right?
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And through so you have to match that.
Yeah.
Kyle is a pick and roll. Like when you have Kyle and Serge on there running the pick and roll, that works for us.
For
you
sure.
Know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, sure, start them both. Right? Again, it's a league full of egos. Who starts the game obviously matters. No matter what Jack tries to tell you, it's not who starts the game, it's who's finished the game. That's matters.
BS.
Right?
It matters.
Right?
Yeah.
It matters in high school ball, it matters college ball, it matters. Right? So, start them. But then there has to be a separation in the game.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And it gets more people involved too.
And it also makes you harder to guard because first you're running gun, now you're half court. Now
you're running two type of tempos in the game.
Right? And it gives everybody a chance to be involved in the game. Now when fourth quarter crunch time comes and you have them both on the court, but both of them are kind of, and it gives you a third dimension. It gives you a third look.
So Kyle Lowry, the debate rages on. I don't think Kyle Lowry's going to the bench.
He's never going to the bench.
Is he's the heart. I agree, but heart doesn't walk and talk. Lowry needs to be the hype man from the bench. We've been babying Lowry's ego for 6 years. If you think Kyle Lowry's ego is coming down after winning an NBA championship,
thank you.
It's never happening.
Never happening.
Never in life. So another comment here says, Ann checks in and says, Pascal was intimidated by Harden and the Pitbull Tucker. Another comment to follow that up from Twitter. Sage says, Siakam gets shook when he plays good teams, 2-5 against teams above 500.
I ain't gonna say all that because there's certain games in a West Coast road trip Siakam had no business pulling out good games against. So
but I also think that there's levels, right? It's gonna take time. He's not just gonna leap.
He's
from
24 years old and he just won most improved player.
To
Come on,
Kawhi,
man.
That's what it just
right?
said. Right?
Like,
regardless of the bag.
Can we just be happy with Siakam being an All-Star this year, guys? Can we?
Hey, I'm totally happy with that. I'm not mad at the Raptors losing these last 2 games.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, my expectations is I want to see them against these games because this is how you learn. This is how you grow. This is how you develop, right?
And to me, like, yes, they got outplayed, but they were in the games.
Yeah.
A couple adjustments, right, you're going to see these teams again. A couple adjustments, and you're in those games.
Yep.
Right?
Totally.
And that's what matters come April when it is winning time.
And I guarantee this. After Siakam touches that All-Star, watch the second half of the season. Watch how he comes back. And that should be the judger because at the end of the day, you're going to soak up that All-Star feeling around those All-Star guys. You're going to pick up certain things.
I'm going to be honest, though, man. I just think the start that the Raptors had kind of got in people's heads and made them think a little bit too far, a little bit too extra.
We're feeling ourselves?
Coming off championship.
Yeah, when like,
right?
yo, Siakam, the glow up is continuing. Remember,
Yes,
the plan was we're going all in for 1 year and then we got to rebuild anyways. That was the plan.
Yeah,
they went all in, won the championship, and now he came back and it's like, oh, Siakam's better. Fred's better.
Yep.
Okay. And now you're figuring it out along the way. These are good problems to have. It's not a huge panic. But guys, this has been great. I tried to get to a lot more comments than I have been for the past few games, just because there's a lot to talk about and a lot of differing opinions in Raptorland. So, of course, really appreciate hearing from you guys on both sides, whether you are on Twitter or Instagram. But Foots, where can the people hit you up if they want to get at you in between games, in between appearances on said Wrap It Up podcast?
All social media, IG especially, Eastside O, and at DDS Caps.
Q?
Simply _ Q, and of course always at DDS Caps. Hit us up, peoples. You know what we gotta keep. Sometimes you know what we should do. Start a little chat group so that these conversations can continue past the podcast.
Continues in the comments.
Yeah, well,
you can comment on. You never seen the YouTube comments, Ben?
I have.
The last one was Fuego Fire, man.
This is pretty dope. I like how everybody gets involved. I like that.
Yeah, man. It's there. It's going on. You got to check out the YouTube comments, man. It's fire. Gozy checks in and says, "Don't worry. In 2 years, Giannis will get it. You done know." Yeah. Again, my name is Sheldon Alexander. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're on Twitter at Shell Alexander or on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. And again, the podcast ends up online on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, all that other fun stuff. Like and subscribe. Again, just search On Blast Podcast. On Blast is a network. Wrap It Up is the name of the show, because we are the Raptors postgame show where we take your comments and questions and give you our takes on everything that you need to know going on in Raptorland. Raptors lose this game 119-109 to James Harden and the Houston Rockets. Raptors drop to 9-2 at home, 15-6 on the season. Rockets win despite James Harden just taking 11 field goal attempts in this game for 23 points. Discuss amongst yourselves.
Can I leave with a last question?
How do you leave on a last question? That doesn't make sense. There needs to be an answer.
People can chime in between now and Sunday.
Okay, fair enough.
How many points does Joel Embiid score on Sunday?
What's the over and under on that?
Over under on Joel Embiid.
I like it. Answer the questions and we'll tune back in to see how Joel Embiid does in the rematch in Philly, which will be a hectic crowd. Yeah. Don't get it twisted. That crowd
Philly's undefeated at home.
That crowd will be hyped up for that game. So, hey, until next time. Used to pray for times like this, to rhyme like this. This is a Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show, as always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, see ya.
Peace.
On blast.